Blog Talk Radio.
It's Cannon Baby coming with the heat. Got Endie Fiya playing in my speakers. LaToyia the host, girl in motion. All the way lit, airway smoking. You can call in, this phone lines open. Rockets are hot like we cooking the roast. Endie Fiya the GOAT, don't ask who the competition is, cause they standing alone popping. When you listening here, you always get what you interviews. Artists, songwriters, authors, and entrepreneurs. Chopping it up with powerful icons who make an influence. Who keep it hotter, this is Endie Fiya. Blazing on yourself, tune in and catch the heat. It don't even matter where you at. Entertainment, losing daily inspiration for everyone. Yeah, holy moly, this day heat. Got LaToyia in my speakers. Girl in motion, get on your feet. Endie Fiya blazing, please keep it coming every week. We too strong, we defeat the weak. Cannon Baby, super speed. We keep it turning to the T. It's too high. A fireman can't put it out cause it's too high. Endie Fiya, it's too high. A fireman can't put it out cause it's too high. Endie Fiya, yeah. Entertainment, news, and daily inspiration for everyone. For everyone. Entertainment, news, and daily inspiration for everyone. For everyone. Entertainment, news, and daily inspiration for everyone. For everyone. Entertainment, news, daily inspiration for everyone. For everyone, yeah.
What's good, guys? You tuned in to another episode of Endie Fiya right here with your girl, LaToyia. Yo, we made it through another Tuesday, the last Tuesday of September. Can you believe it? We're almost through September. And as I've been saying since August, we're almost to December. Like, I'm so excited. You guys have no idea. I'm so excited. We are still counting down the days until my daughter's graduation, and it just seems like every day as we get closer and closer to graduation, I don't know. It's just the excitement. We're still like at day 80. We're at day 80 now, but it just every day the excitement just gets. I don't know. I don't know. If you've ever had a child to graduate kindergarten, you know the excitement. You have that child, you watch them graduate middle school, and then you watch them graduate high school, you know what I'm saying? Then you watch them graduate college. You know, I haven't had a child to graduate college. You know, my oldest, he decided college wasn't his thing. He went into the military. My middle son, he had some setbacks, you know, and so he's still in college. Now my daughter will graduate early. This is a new experience as a parent, you know, seeing a child to graduate from college. So we're all excited, you know, and I have a college graduate and my last will graduate from high school this year. So we have all these countdowns that are going on. And as a, you know, me, I've graduated from college several times, but as a parent, you know, so again, these countdowns around here are, you know, we're just on it. But every day that you get to wake up and, as I said yesterday while on air, we experience death in the family. And so each day that you get to wake up and be in the land of the living and get to just experience a new day is a blessing in itself. But when you have something to look forward to, when you can anticipate something, when you can have a countdown, you know what I'm saying? When you have a vision board and you can mark off things on that board, when you have a bucket list and you can check off things on that list, you know, that's something to really get excited about. And when you have anticipation, it can make your day run by a little smoother. Like today, guys, like I told you yesterday, Monday for me, Mondays drag. It takes Mondays 20 hours to go by. Today kind of just flew by as well. Next thing you know, it's time for me to get off, and I was actually there an additional hour, which is I don't be giving the people no additional time, and I was there an additional hour. You know what I'm saying? And so when you have something to anticipate and to be excited about, it can just make your whole life, your whole day, everything about it just run a whole lot smoother. And today's quote was, allow your passion to become your purpose, and it will one day become your profession. And we always talk about around here how we love doing what we do around here because we are fueled by our passion. You know, when we hear that music play, that intro music play, no matter how our day has been, everybody around here is jumping with excitement. We're ready to get on air. I could do this all day long right here. Radio presentation, that's my thing. I could do this all day long because we're fueled by our passion and we know what our purpose is. So, indie artists, entrepreneurs, apply that quote, Gabriel Bernstein, to any aspect of your life. Allow your passion to become your purpose, and it will one day become your profession. So as, you know, I've seen a lot of graduates recently, as, you know, you step into the workforce, future graduates in December, in May, you know, as you step into the workforce, remember what your purpose is. Remember what your passion, you know, why you went to school, why you were passionate about whatever that choice was that you majored in. And as you remain passionate about it and you realize that this is your purpose, then when you get to that finish line and you obtain that degree, and now you realize that, hey, boom, this is my profession. You know what I'm saying? You have so many of us that have gone back to school because maybe that first degree that you obtained, you know, my first degree was in political science. That's something that I wanted to do. You know, I wanted to become a lawyer. And that, again, that's what I wanted to do. But my steps weren't ordered to become a lawyer because, again, that's what I wanted to do. But when you realize that the Creator has something so much bigger that's in store for you and what your life is really destined to become and what your purpose really is, you know, then that's when you'll find your profession. So before I get off on a tangent, because you know how I am, I want to just say, find your passion. Be purposeful about what it is that you're passionate about, and always make sure that you're walking in that purpose. All right, guys. Super excited about my guest this evening. Before we talk to her, let me tell you who we have coming up Thursday, closing out the month. Author G.A. Bourne is going to be here with us on Thursday. And then on Saturday, kind of a special show, just to give you a, not a syllabus, here I am talking about college, a calendar, the calendar for the month of October. Yes, the calendar for the month of October. And then coming to us in October, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On the 3rd, we have artist Taboo will be here with us. On the 4th, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Electro Horse will be here with us. And then on Thursday, the 6th, at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Artist Spotlight. Remember, we discussed this briefly last night in the Artist Spotlight. Brand new, we're bringing it back here. Nigerian artist YNG Kizzy will be in the Artist Spotlight on the 6th. So you might want to tune in on Saturday the 1st to see just who made the calendar for October. Maybe your favorite artist, maybe your new favorite artist. You didn't even know. All artists, yes, all artists for the month. No, we do have an author, yes. Domestic Violence Awareness Month is coming up in October. So we do have a special treat coming up in October surrounding domestic violence awareness, as well as a photographer. Yes, we talked about her briefly last night. The movie, The Woman King, yes, one of 3 photographers selected for that movie will be gracing us with her presence on the 20th of October. So I can't wait to talk to her. So if you can't make them all, please, 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 as we always say, do not miss them all. All right? My guest this evening is author and novelist LaToyia McCray. She's an author born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, but currently resides in Memphis, Tennessee. Now, how lucky are we to get two guests from Memphis, Tennessee, back to back? Last night and again tonight. Memphis in the house, right? She's a nurse by day and a writer by night. When she is not saving lives, she enjoys writing novels and short stories. Writing has always been a passion of LaToyia, and she loves bringing her characters to life in her stories. Endie Fiya listening audience, I present to you this evening my very, very special guest, author and novelist, LaToyia McCray.
Thank you.
You are so very welcome. Now, she said that she is not saving lives. She is writing novels and stories. So before we even get into her life as an author and novelist, let's talk really quickly about your life as a nurse. I want to say thank you so much, as we are not at the end of the pandemic at all, but as we have gone through the pandemic, I want to say thank you for, your life and the occupation that you are in as a nurse, as an LPN.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know what role you play in where you are located, but any of our persons who have been in that position during this pandemic deserve all of our accolades, because I know that it has been tough, not only on you mentally, physically, emotionally, but your family as well. So thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Let's talk about that decision very quickly. You have to be a special type of individual to, make that choice to go into that career field. Did you, as a little girl, say, one day, I want to be a nurse. I want to save lives. When was it that you decided that that's what you wanted to do as an adult?
You know what? Ever since I was a little girl, I've always had, the nurturing. I was always the nurturing type of person. I just always wanted to help people. That was the type of person that I always was. I always wanted to be a nurse. That was always my passion. But I kind of let life get in the way and, kind of put it on the back burner. And then one day I told myself that, life is just going to continue to go on, and I'm going to continue to not do the things that I want to do. So actually, I was in an RN program first, and then some things happened. That's kind of a long story, with my transcript, and they wanted me to sit out a semester. And so I knew a girl, and she was like, well, just apply to the LPN program, because I know you don't want to sit out. And so I did, and I got accepted. I had to do testing and all of that. I got accepted into the program, and I finished. It was a year program. I finished, and now I am practicing as a nurse.
Okay. All right. Do you specialize in any, are you in a hospital or in a doctor's office, or do you have any
I'm
particular
actually
field
in
that
an
you
assisted
specialize
living.
in? Or? Okay.
Yeah, I love working with geriatric patients, so elderly patients. I love working with them. I work with a lot of dementia patients, and I love working with them because they always, whenever I'm having a bad day, they always do something to make me laugh. And so I just love being around them and, taking care of them and nurturing them and, just giving them love, because we do have a lot of people in facilities, who doesn't get to see their family members. Their family members does not come and visit them. And so I try to give them that love and try to show them hey, I'm here for you. I care about you, because unfortunately, family members do drop them off in these places, and you don't really see them that
yeah.
often. So, yeah.
That right there alone takes a special type of individual. One, geriatrics. Two, those who are going through dementia. That right there takes a special type of individual.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I went through a grandparent that had dementia. And the resilience that you have to have as a family member, but then someone who is on the outside, you know, who is specially trained to deal with this, you just got to be a special type of individual to go in every day and not deal with one. I only had to deal with my grandfather, you know what I'm saying? But you have patients that you have to look after. And as you mentioned, those who just say, you know, I can't deal with this. You know, I'm going to put mom, pop over here, and this is where they're going to be. They just leave them there. And I can't even imagine those who, when, you know, we had relatives who were in assisted living facilities during COVID where, you know, you could not go see them, or you had to see them through the windows, and they could not comprehend that, you know, you're waving at them through the windows, and they don't understand why you can't come into the facility and see them. You're trying to see them through the windows, and they don't understand. And as they're slowly slipping away, they don't understand why you can't come in and see them, why you can't have physical contact with them, you know, and you have to be that person to let them know, you know, explain to them what's going on. And, you know, I got to be a special type of person to deal with that. So I salute you. I commend you. Wow.
Thank you. It's definitely, you know, a challenge sometimes because, you know, dementia patients, you know, their brain can't process things, you know, how we process them. And so it's challenging when you have those patients, you know, who have like the sundowners and, you know, they have the outbursts and stuff. You definitely have to have patience because if I can be honest, it's like having a lot of toddlers at the same time because, you know, their brain goes back to, you know, go back to that stage. And so, but I love it. And I love, you know, my patients, you know, when I go and take care of them, I try to give them the best care because at the end of the day, that is their home. And so I try to make them, you know, let them know, like, this is your home. You know, I give, you know, I don't tell them, you know, like, I let them know they, you know, they have choices because in a lot of like long-term care facilities, you know, patients don't feel like they have choices because, you know, you have some staff that'll come in and, you know, tell them what they're going to do and stuff like that. But in the assisted living facility that I work at, I always try to make sure, you know, that I let my patients know that this is your home. I'm here to care for you and you can make decisions, you know, as far as, you know, like when you want to go to bed or, you know, just simple stuff like that.
Wow. Woo, again, just a special type of individual. Again, I commend you. I don't think I could have the strength or resilience. Again, one person, that would be my limit. And yeah, I'd have to clock out, you know. I need one patient, like one patient. Because that's my patience, you know. I got my patience is low, so yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I do want to get on into, you know, your life as an author, and let's talk about that. When did you first realize that, you know, you wanted to be a writer?
Ever since I was a little girl. So I was an actress. I worked for a community center called the Caramel House in Cleveland, Ohio. I started acting there as a young girl. I was doing plays and, you know, different things like that. And I always loved to write. Like I have a big imagination. So whenever like I would have an idea for a story, I would always just write it down. And I would always let my family read it, and they would always tell me, like, wow, you have a gift. Like, you write really good stories. And so since I was a little girl, I've always done it all the way up until adulthood. Like I have books that I have written. I have short stories that I have written, years ago that I haven't published. But now I know I would have to go back and, read through them and maybe add stuff. But ever since I was a little girl, I loved to write. It was just something that I loved to do.
I don't know how old you are. You look really young, but I know when I was younger, my friends and I would take like a notebook, and we would begin. One person would begin. We would pass the notebook on. The next person would just write, and then that person would pass the notebook on, and then that person would write. And this is how we would write our short stories. And now this is pretty popular now. Did you do anything like that when you were in middle school, high school?
Yes, and I'm actually 32. I was born in 1990. So, actually, yes, me and my middle school best friend, we actually used to do that. But we never used to write our stories down when we did it together. We would just say it to each other. It was weird. We would just get on the phone, and we would just, like, say our part, and then my friend would come in and say her part, and then I'll come back in and say my part. Like, we would just do it off the top of our heads, and that's where I started with free writing, because even when I wrote my book, Lost in Love, You versus Them, I literally wrote it from the top of my head. I'm a free writer, so it's like I would just write what would come to mind because I have a big imagination. So, yes, I definitely did that with one of my friends in middle school. And then in high school, I actually had a friend. We actually entered into a competition. We wrote a story together. I'll never forget. It was called Have You Ever? And we wrote a story about a guy who was in an abusive relationship with his wife, and we wanted to do it like the man's point of view because we always hear about the women being in abusive relationships. So we wanted to put a twist on it and have it where the male was in an abusive relationship. And, and we wrote a story about that, and we entered it into a competition. We didn't win, but our story did make the top of the list. It was in a different time frame or something like that, then we would have won. But they went with somebody else story instead of ours. But I think I want to go back and kind of tweak that story a little bit, and maybe even get with the girl that I did it with, because I still communicate with her, and then maybe we can, try to get that story out there too, because that was actually a really good story. Our English teacher was like, "This is really good." So
interesting that you said in a different time. Were you too advanced for them, you think?
I think it was too advanced for them. I don't know, because when we got the letter, because they sent us a letter, we were just kind of like, okay, well, what time frame did they want? Maybe, I don't know, maybe because you hear more so about women being in abusive relationships. I'm not sure, why they didn't choose our story or what they meant by time frame. But, we were kind of sad, but, we were still happy that our story made, the top 5 on the list. So, I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't, I don't know.
That would be, I would love to, I'm a domestic violence advocate, so
okay.
Something that I speak on a lot is the fact that so many men won't speak up for fear of other men looking and saying, wait, you let that 5'3" woman verbally, you let your woman put her hands on you, you're the man, for so many reasons, men will not speak up.
Right.
But whether it's a mental issue, whether it's from an emotional standpoint, whether the man is the leader and I shouldn't speak up, whether I'm embarrassed. But statistically speaking, men will not speak up. So I don't say that I advocate more for the men. Somebody has to be a voice for them as well as women, as well as children.
Absolutely. Absolutely, I agree.
That is something I would love to see, you know, if you're interested in revisiting. But you mentioned writing from the male perspective. How easy is it, or how difficult is it to write characters from the opposite sex perspective?
You know what?
Did you do so in your book?
Huh?
Did you do so in your latest book?
Yes, I did. I actually wrote the female in the book. She's the female lead, but I did write from the point of view of two other guys in the book. And I wouldn't say it was difficult because I have a lot of men in my family, and all of them have like different personalities, and I'm married, I have a husband, so it wasn't really hard for me to speak from a male point of view because I did it based off, you know, like things that I saw or things that I've experienced, how they would respond to certain situations. And so I used that as I was writing the story, as I was writing from the male perspective. I would think about, okay, how would he respond to this? Or, you know, when I created my male characters, you know, I created them. For example, the main character, one of the main characters, Jeremy, in my book, I wrote him, and when I wrote his character, I wanted his character to be a romantic individual. He's basically like the side of my husband that he doesn't really show as much. And so in my character, I wanted to show more of what my husband doesn't show. And me and him had this talk, and I told him, I said, when I wrote, you know, the character Jeremy, who is one of the main characters in my story, I said, I wrote him, you know, as you, but he's more of a romantic. He's like more of the side that you don't really show. So I kind of based my male characters off of people that I know and how they would respond, like in different situations that happened in the story.
Understood. Want to get into a little music, just to give you a moment to catch your breath. You may know this artist, you may not. We kind of like her around here. You let me know what you think, and we'll be back in just a moment. This right here is I Want You.
Yes.
Staring at the ceiling, just thinking about what I'm gonna do, 'cause I'm missing you. And I'm feeling kinda lonely, trying to see if I should send you that WID. I need it. My body is begging and pleading for you to love me right, love me right. I'm hoping that you answer it, 'cause I'm having withdrawal. Love is like my favorite. I need a hand. I wanna feel your kisses on me. My body is begging and pleading for you to love me right. Love me right. Just like it is, I'm feeling. I want the real thing, no dreaming. Dreaming about you tonight, tonight. 'Cause I want you, I want you, I need your arms around me. I want you, I want you, I want you. I'm feeling some type of way. Let's not play. You got what I need and I want. Tell me when I'll be and I'll come. I want you, 'cause I want you, I want you, I want you. I want you, I want you, I want you. I'm feeling some type of way. Let's not play. You got what I need and I want. Tell me when I'll be and I'll come. I want you.
If you're just tuning in, you're live right here on Endie Fiya with your girl, Fiya, and my very special guest, author and novelist, LaToyia McCray. And that right there was Dorothy with I Want You. Let me tell you, this family is very talented. Now, we had Dorothy on the show back, and tonight we have a sister, LaToyia McCray. I didn't know you guys were going to play, but thank you. Thank you. I think you heard me mention that, and that's why that was queued up to play. Now, writers often are encouraged to write about what they know. How have your real-life experiences impacted the stories that you write about?
Well, this story in particular in my book was basically just off the dome, my imagination, but certain scenarios as far as like the friends in the story, I kind of base it off of me and my cousins because we are really close with each other, and so I wanted my characters in the story, the friends, to be close like me and my cousins were, and so I kind of transformed that into my book with the relationships of the people in the book. Because I come from a very close-knit family. We are super duper close. My cousins, we grew up like sisters. And so I wanted to kind of put that in the story and so that the readers can get a feel for that.
Now, I know that this book that we're kind of sort of talking about is volume 1 of a 4-part volume. When you sat down and began to write this story, did you know how it was going to end? Did you know that it was going to be part 1 of a 4-part volume?
Yes. So when I came up, I originally had this story idea for 2 years. I had this idea for a long time, and so I knew that I wanted to not put everything in the first book. The first book, you guys are left off with a cliffhanger because obviously I want you guys to get the second book. So I definitely knew that it was going to be a 4-volume love story, but I didn't know how the story was going to end. I kept going back and forth about different ideas of how I wanted it to end. I would get a notebook and I would write, like different things down of how I wanted the story to end. And then when I finally decided, I was like, okay, this is going to make readers like gasp and be like, oh my God, we're going to have to get the second volume. And I want to do that with the second volume, the third volume, and then of course the 4th volume will be the last one. So I'm working on the volume 2 now, but definitely knew that it was going to be 4 volumes to this story.
How do you stay disciplined and not get distracted? Like, my mind, I've given myself a diagnosis. Like, I swear I have adult ADHD. My mind is always on 20,000. I always want to accomplish 30,000 things in a day. My mind is always racing. It's always, wanting to do so many things. So you already know that this is going to be a 4-volume book. All right, right now I need to focus on what's going to go in volume 2. I don't need to worry about volume 4 right now. I need to put what Jeremy's actions are going to be in volume 4. How are you disciplined for book 2 right now?
You know what? It was not easy because I have 3 small children. I have a 2-year-old, I have a 5-year-old, and I have a 6-year-old. So that alone was very hard for me. But my husband, he's very supportive in everything that I do. Even when I was in nursing school, my kids were young, and he was very supportive. He was my backbone, and he helped me. And it's kind of the same with the book. I would have to sit up, okay, because I would sometimes jump ahead, and I was like, okay, I need to focus on this right now. I need to focus on volume 1 right now and get this finished, because I know that if I get distracted, I'm not going to get it done. And that was kind of how it was when I was in nursing school. Like, I put it off for so many years, and then I finally, I would always start stuff and never finish it. And I'm just now in the mindset of I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And I did that with nursing school and also with my book. It took me 2 months just to write the first volume because I am a free writer, like I said, and even going through editing, I sent it to a professional editor and everything. That still didn't take a long time, but staying focused was definitely hard. But I just kept telling myself that you got to finish this book. You got people waiting. You got people, writing you like, when is the book going to come out? And so that is what kind of kept me disciplined, because I knew that I had people anticipating my book.
So were those people who were anticipating the release of this book, once they got a hold of this book and they read this book and they began to give you their honest opinion, and you start to read these book reviews, now I know all reviews are not going to be good reviews. What happens when you get a bad review? How do you deal with bad reviews?
You know what? If I get a bad review, I just have to accept the fact that, it just wasn't their type of story. It just wasn't, something that kept their interest, because I'm a reader myself. I love to read books. And so if I read a book and it just wasn't that interesting to me, or, it just didn't keep my attention, then I'll give my honest opinion, and say, it was okay, or, it wasn't, what I expected. So if I do get a bad review, I can take constructive criticism. So I would just have to accept it and respect their opinion. But I know that there's going to be a lot of good reviews, because this story is so good. And so I know that there'll be some bad ones, but I'm in a, state of mind now where it's like, maybe if I was younger, then I'd be like, they just hating, but now it's just like, I'll just have to, I just respect their opinion and just keep, moving forward. It's not going to make me get discouraged, or, I'm still going to be working on volume 2, and I'm going to get volume 2 out, and then volume 3, and then volume 4. I'm still going to do what I said I was going to do, regardless of, the bad reviews.
Hey now, what's good? It's your girl, Jana Blackwell, C-Town Records, Mistress of Soul. And you're on the air with the hottest independent station, Endie Fiya, with your host, LaToyia, giving you that heat right here on the station, bringing you all of the hottest hip-hop hits, Endie Fiya.
If you're just tuning in, you're live right here on Endie Fiya with your girl, LaToyia, and my very special guest, author and novelist, LaToyia McCray. If you want to call in and speak to our guest this evening, that number is 929-477-1320. So let's talk about this new book. Now, I know some of you all are anticipating the book and its release on September 30th, but I got some news for you. I'm going to let LaToyia give you that news. Lost in Love versus Them 1. You can get it where? When?
You can get it on Amazon today. You can get the paperback version today on Amazon. You can just simply put in my name, LaToyia McCray, LaToyia, McCray, McCray, or you can just put in the name of the book, Lost in Love, You versus Them, Volume 1, and it'll pop up. But unfortunately, the Kindle version and the versions that'll be at Barnes & Noble will not be available until September 30th. But you can get the paperback today on Amazon.
You heard it here first, guys. Lost in Love, You versus Them, Volume 1 is available on Amazon today. You know how we love giving out new stuff, new information here on Endie Fiya. Let's talk about the book. What is Lost in Love, You versus Them, Volume 1 all about? Now, don't tell them all of it.
Okay, I'm not going to tell all of it, but it is a story about a girl who marries her high school sweetheart. He was literally her first everything, and he later becomes this famous rapper. And so the book is showing the transition from their lives of being ordinary people, living ordinary lives, to living this fast life, and things begin to change. Layla has to deal with a lot of things, betrayal, loss of friendships, just dealing with a lot of things within her marriage. Things definitely takes a turn. And Layla is basically trying to keep her family afloat, but, there's only so much a person can take. And so it's just basically, the first volume is just basically showing, like, the transition and, how they handle things and how things go in the marriage and how things go in the industry. And so it's definitely a big change for her. It's definitely, a lot of things that she didn't expect, but, she's ride or die. So that's basically what it's about.
So who in the industry do we know?
Who do I know in the industry?
I'm trying to think. Because I went the wrong direction. I went sports for a minute. I went LeBron James, but I thought, no, wait a minute. Well, he rap a little bit, right? Don't he rap? He think he can rap.
I'm not sure, but I did get to meet LeBron James one time when I was younger. He came to my uncle's church because he's really good friends with my cousins. He used to play ball with them and stuff. But I don't know anybody personally in the industry. It's just based off, things that I see, different stories that I hear in the industry that kind of like motivated me and kind of was my inspiration to write. And also I would listen to music. Like I would listen to, when I was writing, I would listen to songs. Like I'm a big J. Cole fan.
Yes.
So he's like my favorite rapper. Like I absolutely love him. And so I wanted my character to kind of be like that kind of rapper. So when I was writing about Jeremy in the book, I kind of wanted him to be like, this humble, laid back, type of rapper. And then like the different instances and stories that happen in the story, it was just kind of based off, my imagination, also, based off what I've seen in the industry, just off social media and stuff like that.
So you named him Jeremy and not Jermaine.
Yes, I named him Jeremy. I just always liked the name Jeremy. I said if I had a son, I would name him Jeremy. I just always liked that name. Like the name's just came off the top of my head. The girl's name is Layla. I don't know where I got Layla from. I just was like, okay, I want her name to be Layla. And so, also, there's another character in the story. Her name is Alexis. Her nickname is Lexi. I used my cousin's name, Summer, because she's like my favorite cousin and we're really close. And I used her name in the story. So, most of the characters' names were just like off the top of my head. And then some of them were like inspiration of people that I know personally. It's not them, but I just, use the name because I like the name or, the relationship that I have with the person.
Now, I know that this is, and the listening audience may not know, but this is your first published book, but you have, and you did mention previously, you have other books and short stories that you've written. Do you try to be more original with what you write, or do you deliver to readers what they want? So what I'm saying is, have you had people to read, what you've written in the past, and they say, oh, I think you should write about this right here. So you go back and that's a good idea. Let me go write about this. Or do you, are you original with what you write about?
Honestly, I'm very original with what I write. My book, Lost in Love, I did have a few close people read it. And, they would just give me, their opinions on, maybe I should add this or I should add that. But I'll never change, my idea because it's mine and, it's important and unique to me. So I'll never, change my story, but I will take into consideration, like if they say, maybe you should add this or maybe you should take this out, to make it sound better or to make it sound more realistic, I'll do that. But as far as changing my story line or, my ideal of the story, no, I'm very original with everything that I write. Like I told you, I write off the dome. I have a very big imagination. And so when I'm writing my stories, I'm putting myself in the character's place. So like if I'm writing a scene where Layla is in the room, I'm putting myself in that room so that when I write the story, the readers feel like they're there. That's the kind of experience that I want my readers to have.
What's one thing in your writing that you have done that you thought you would have never done?
I would say actually published the book. I never would have thought that I would have published a book. And I'm so, proud of myself because, like I told you before, I always start things and never finish them. I have so many stories. I have plays that I've written that I haven't done anything with. And so me publishing my very first book is a big accomplishment. I don't care how anybody else sees it. If they feel like it's not a big deal, it's a big deal to me because I know that I have always procrastinated when it comes to my stories. And for me, actually, this story, Lost in Love, You versus Them, actually I was supposed to be writing it with someone else. I had gave them the idea and everything, and they was like, okay, well, just give me a deadline and I'll, get my part out, and they never did. And so, see, if I would have waited, then my book probably would have never came out. And something just told me, see, you know what, just keep going, just keep writing. Don't wait on that person. And I'm glad that I did because they never came through. I never heard back from that person. And so I'm glad, I guess that was God showing me no, this is what I want you to do. This is for you. And so I did it. I did the editing. I did everything by myself. And so I'm very proud of myself. If nobody else is proud of me, I know that I'm proud of myself.
Well, I'm very proud of you also because
Thank you.
When you have people that tell you, and I don't even know you, even though I know you, you know what I'm saying? But I say that when you have people that tell you, you have books within you, and all you have to do is bring forth what is within you. You have people that see something within you that you don't even see in yourself. But, and I'm talking about myself right now, but I hear you say the same thing about yourself. And you procrastinate and you sleep on your gifts.
Mhm.
But
yes,
now you say that, being a published author, you know what I'm saying, is something that you've done that you never would have thought you would have, accomplished in your writing career. I've had authors on the show who are number one Amazon best-selling authors. They've won awards after awards after awards, and an humble, honest answer, like being a published author. I mean, you need lengthy answers, you know what I'm saying? But being a published author, that's nothing no one has ever responded with. And just to be able to say, I know that I'm a procrastinator. I know that I have books that are within me. I know that people tell me that I'm a, amazing writer. I know that what I'm capable of doing. I know that I always start something, but I never finish it. You know what I'm saying? I did the same thing with my nursing career, but look at me now. I know that once I set my mind to do something, I'm going to get it done now because I did so with my nursing career. Somebody needs to hear this. So she, and I won't even ask my question that I normally ask, what piece of advice would you offer, to an aspiring author? Because she's giving you so many gems in her testimony tonight, just in her telling you about her career as a nurse, being a procrastinator and just finally saying, enough is enough. Like, I want this for myself. I can do it, and so she's done the same thing with her career as an author. Now a published author, make sure you go to Amazon, type in that title, and get that book, all right? Barnes & Noble's on the 30th, get that book, all right? But when you self-identify and know that, you sometimes we are our own worst enemy, but we can hold ourselves accountable and be knowledgeable and know that we have this within ourselves. All we got to do is step out of our own way sometimes. We step out of our own ways and realize that people see things within us. We step out of our own ways and go for what we know that we want and what we know that we want to do. So any of you all who have that vision like LaToyia has and want to become an author, stop procrastinating. I'm going to say what I feel like she wants to say. Stop procrastinating and go ahead and get it done.
Just do it.
What's the last thing? Toy, what's the last thing that you learned?
As far as in the process of writing my book?
In general, what's the last thing that you learned?
Okay, so based off my experience so far with my whole book, I would say the last thing that I learned is that not everybody is going to support you, but you still have to keep going, and you still have to jump out on faith, and you still have to do what you love regardless of the people around you who really claim that they rock with you, but they really don't show that support that you want them to show. So I would have to say, definitely that it has shown me that not everybody is going to be supportive of you, but still go out there and do what you want to do, and, stop procrastinating, and the only thing that comes to a sleeper is a dream. So you got to go out there and you got to chase what you want. And so that's what I had to tell myself, to just go out there and do it regardless of the support that you have from people.
Okay. And what's the last thing that you taught someone?
The last thing that I taught someone, I would have to say, speak up for yourself. I had to tell someone that you have to speak up for yourself. You have to have a voice, because if you don't speak up, then that gives people the opportunity to be able to walk over you and to be able to continue to do things to you and say things to you, that you don't like, and they only do what you allow. So I always tell people around me, because I do have a podcast that'll be starting this Thursday. It's called How We Live In Podcast, and we'll be streaming Amazon Music, iTunes, Spotify. We'll be streaming on all platforms. And our main message is speak up and speak up for yourself, regardless of what it is in a relationship, in the workplace, in friendships, in families, whatever, just always have a voice and don't allow people to, belittle you or to step over you, to always speak up for yourself.
All right. Now I want you to take the last thing that you learned, which I'm going to summarize that not everyone supports you, stop procrastinating, and that only, I forgot your quote.
The only thing that comes to a sleeper is a dream.
All right, so the last thing that you learned and the last thing that you taught someone, speaking up for yourself, thing that you learned and the last thing you taught someone, combine those two together. And that aspiring artist that is listening right now, or that aspiring author that is listening right now, let them know what they need to do.
Okay, so basically, regardless of who's supporting you or who's rocking with you, live your dream. Don't be a procrastinator like I was. If you really want to do something, you got to go for it, because like I said, the only thing that comes to a sleeper is a dream. And so do what you have to do to live out that dream. And then, in the process, if you have to speak up for yourself and you have to stand up for yourself, do so. Have that voice and, do it. Just do it. Don't procrastinate. Just do it. And I promise you, once you get finished and you have everything out there, you're going to be so proud of yourself, and you're going to say, wow, like I did it. I'm a published author. And if nobody is proud of me, I'm proud of me.
Now, I know that how you're making a difference in the world, in your eyes, so to speak, profession. How do you want to make a difference in the world as a published author?
I want to make a difference as a published author because, one, I'm an African-American author, and I just, hear, how they already, treat us and make us feel, like we're beneath the earth and everything like that. But I want to inspire people and, let them know that you can do whatever you put your mind to. And when people are reading my stories, I want to be able to, feel like they are in the actual story. Like, I want to inspire them in that way. And, when they're in the actual story, I'm giving them, a message in different ways. And hopefully, the messages, like even in my book, You Versus Them, there's a message behind the book. And maybe it can touch someone. And maybe somebody that's going through that, maybe they may not be a famous rapper, but maybe they're going through the same thing that Layla and Jeremy is going through in their relationship. And, maybe they can relate to it and it can help them, with whatever they're going through. So whatever books I put out or whatever stories or plays or whatever, I want my audience to take a message away from it and, you know, to be able to relate to whatever the story is.
Awesome. Well, you guys heard it here first. Lost in Love, You versus This, now available on Amazon, available Barnes & Noble on September the 30th, Volume 1. Volume 2 coming up soon. LaToyia McCray, I want to go ahead and give you the opportunity to go ahead and get all of your contact information out for those who may be listening live, for those who may come back and listen to one of the many playback shows, how they can get in contact with you if they're interested in collaborating on a book, if they're interested in, book signings, if they're interested in having you on their show for whatever reason that they want to get in contact with you. The floor is now yours to get all of that contact information out.
Okay, so my Facebook is Toya McCray, Toya. Last name is McCray, McCray. Please feel free to DM me on there. Also, if you want to reach out to me on Instagram, I do have where you can reach out through my podcast, and it is how.we livin, LIVIN. That's our Instagram. If you want to reach out to me through there, I'm on there way more than my personal page. You can reach out to me on there. And then also our Twitter is how_we livin, the same, LIVIN. And that is our Twitter. If you guys want to reach out to me, or if you have any questions, or you want to do any collabs, or, you know, reach out to me. I'm open to it. I love to write. And if that is something that you want to do, just feel free to reach out to me. I will definitely check my messages periodically like I do anyway. And, yeah. So hopefully you guys go get my book. I'm so excited. You know, this is my first book, and I hope that you guys go and get my book. Once again, it's available on Amazon today if you want the paperback, Barnes & Noble on Friday the 30th.
All right, guys, you heard it. Lost in Love, You versus Them, Volume 1, available on Amazon now. Barnes & Noble's on September 30th. Don't wait for August, guys, all right? September 30th. I thank you so much for joining me here this evening, Toya. Once you are on the show, become a part of the family. I believe you're already welcome into the group as well. You're welcome back here at any time. We expect to get Volume 2. We'll make sure to get Volume 1. Yes. We'd love to have you back when Volume 2 comes out, as well as 3 and 4. Guys, make sure that you're back here on Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then on Saturday. Just a quick recap standard time as well. Until then, you all have a nice night.
Entertainment, news, and daily inspiration for everyone. Entertainment, news, and daily inspiration for everyone. Entertainment, news, and daily inspiration for everyone. Entertainment, news, daily inspiration for everyone, yeah.